Welcome to the Sports Resort with D Junkins Sports, aka Derek Junkins. And as you can see, I'm repping Fred Sanford on my shirt. Kind of grew up watching him every day. The Sports Resort, we talk about sports, athletes, academics, pro sports, everything. As you can see, moving forward, we have to do a lot via Zoom as the pandemic going on right now in the world, and it can't really go live and up front with a lot of different people right now. Today's guest, I have Damion Square. I've been knowing Damion for a long time. Damion's from Houston, Texas. He played football at Jack Yates High School in Houston. If I'm not mistaken, did you go to Ryan Middle School or Cullen?
No, I went to Ryan, man.
You went to
Everything in
Ryan.
Third Ward. I went to Turner. I went to Ryan. I went to Yates. I did not leave Third Ward until I went to
Oh,
college.
nice. He went to Ryan Middle School, then went on to Jack Yates High School, and then went from there and went to Alabama, and also he still plays for the San Diego Chargers right now. If I'm not mistaken, you're going on your 7th year in the NFL or 8?
8, man. Yeah, I
8
saw
years.
that.
8 years.
Yeah, don't start me, man. 8,
Boys don't
man.
like skipping them years.
Give me
You're going
all
on
that.
8 years in the NFL, which most guys, normally don't even get to see that daylight. I always tell people NFL stand for not for long. Guys get in there and fast as they get in, they out. Damon's had a great career. I've been knowing him for a while. He's a good person. As you can see from his background, he in California, sunshine and wind blowing. I don't see no palm trees in the background, though. But welcome, Damon. Glad you can make some time out your day.
I gotta change the view.
I got you. Glad to have you on, man. Glad
Yeah.
you can make some time for me today on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. I just had a few questions for you, man. I think people every day they look on social media. They see athletes, and and everybody's journey different. I always tell people, your journey might not be as easy or hard as my journey was to get where I'm at, and vice versa yours. But how was it, growing up in a big family that had high expectations to be successful? Square family, y'all deep. Y'all everywhere.
It was tough, man. It was tough, and I was a big talker, man. I talked a lot, you know what I mean? I was the kid that got the size. I was wide, I had the height, I had the speed, and I came behind everybody. I got to see everybody make their mistakes. I got to see everybody, progress. So I think I just had a little advantage, on some of the guys that came before me, because I actually got, the chance to see them do what they did, man. So they just kind of set bricks, and I kind of, jump right on top of those bricks and continue, what they already started. But it was a lot of pressure, because they was big critics, man. I mean, you come from a background like that too, man. Just big critics. Nothing was ever good enough. They was just always gonna try to, give you some type of, criticism that would just melt you, man. So I spent a lot of time, just digging through their words, trying to find some motivation, to make it where I am today.
Got you. Who did I work with, your dad or your grandpa? Which one
You
worked
work
for
with my grandfather.
your grandpa?
You work with
Man,
my
your
grandfather.
grandpa. Man, your grandpa used to come find me every day and talk to my head off every day.
Yeah, that's my
Your grandpa.
grandfather. Yeah, I grew up with a single black mom. People don't know that because of how big my grandfather was in my life, man. So he was just such a big man that, the world actually didn't even notice that I didn't have a father. But
Yeah, because
no
I thought he
father,
was.
just
I
a
thought he
mother.
was your dad for a long time. I always thought he was your dad because when he used to come up to Madison, he just talk our heads off every day, and we always listen to him, and he just talking about you and everybody else, and your brothers and everybody. So you had a brother that played in Miami, right?
Yeah, my uncle. But something like my brother, because we were so close in age. Those guys are only like 7, 8 years older than me.
Golly, that's very interesting. So how was that? Your uncle played at University of Miami. If I'm not mistaken, did he win that championship too there, or they played for one?
He played in 2-1-1. Played in 2-1-1. He played in the one against Nebraska, won that one. Then they came back with Ohio State in the pass interference call and lost that one.
Man, I don't have no history books or anything in front of me right now, but that probably go down in history. Pretty pretty sure, you know, a family member winning a national championship, as you won one in Alabama also. It's probably in the history books. But that's good. You know, I always tell people family is big in kids and people's life on support and they road to success. You know, I always think your family plays a big part of it.
Yeah, he gave me my dream, man. I tell people all the time, seeing is believing, man. If you want to get your kids motivated, then get them around good people, you know. And I know that's not always an option for everybody, you know, and that's part of the problem. Part of the problem is that everybody doesn't have an opportunity to get their kids and their youth around good people. But, you know, he was one of the guys that extended my family where we could travel and, you know, go do different things because he pulled us out of our household. We had to go watch him play and, you know, watch him accomplish his goals. And within that, man, he gave me a dream. So I truly appreciate that guy for, you know, being the guy that was first and, you know, kind of motivated me to be who I am.
That's nice. That's nice, bro. That's nice. And I talk to you. This next question I got: how was it as a youth growing up? You know, and you know, I don't even know if you remember this. I think I mentioned this years ago that I actually coached you at the NFL JPD program. You was like in the 5th grade.
I remember that.
I think your grandpa signed you up, and that was one of those programs the NFL set up in inner city kids in the inner city areas of the cities, and it was free for kids. Y'all got equipment, y'all got pads, and the NFL paid me and coaches to come out there and coach y'all. You know, that was something real big. And I always say, I need to get back around to it. You know, getting the NFL to actually put those back in those areas because I think that was huge. You know, for guys like you and other guys. You know, even for me as a coach, you know, to go back and give back. You know, I think that was huge right there. But I think as, you know, moving forward, I think the NFL needs to put those programs back in there, in the inner city, in the areas, you know, where 3rd Ward, Harlem Clark, you know, Sunnyside. I think those programs are needed big time, man, for kids and teach the kids the right way and discipline and things like that. But I never forget working with you then. I feel like I'm old as dirt right now. It was a long time ago.
But I feel the same way about those programs, man. Those programs, I got like some crazy moments, you know, that I still remember. Because what it was kind of like AAU football. You know what I mean? It just was guys from all over the area that could come together. At the end of the day, you know, it was like in the spring, right? So it kind of like started spring ball for us too, because you know that hadn't been, you know, presented to us previously. So it kind of like brought that aspect in the ball as well. But that program taught us ball, right? We had been playing ball since we could pick up a football, but I didn't know why you did the things that you did in football, right? So that program kind of brought light to that. You know, we was just out there, guys. Put a helmet on you, gave you pads. We knew it was 11 guys on the field. They put a ball on the ground. We played ball. But when JPD, junior player development, came to the neighborhood, one, it gave you opportunity to see other good guys, you know, that thought they were good, you know, from the area, because you weren't just going to sign up for that if you didn't think you had some type of skill set. And then two, it gave us opportunity to learn spacing and learn why you did things in football from different perspectives. So that really gave me actually I ended up, you know, having trouble in school after that program. So I didn't even get a chance to continue to play football my 8th grade year. So that was the last, you know, teaching that I got before I went into high school and played ball.
Good. That's good. I definitely, you know, and salute to Coach Seals and everybody around that time that pushed that.
Sure.
You know, that's when I first started coaching, being around kids, and man, they got my passion really going for doing what I do now. On a quick
Revolution helmet.
Yeah, exactly. And what was a good thing about the program that it was free for inner city kids. You know, the NFL sponsored everything. You know, and that was huge right there. What made
they kind of moved that to like the whole Play 60 thing now, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So they kind of moved that into, because that program was, you know, it was real sexist. It didn't involve girls, right? So they kind of ventured off into the Play 60 thing so that they can include everybody, and I think that's a good thing too.
Yeah, exactly. Most definitely on that. What, you know, at Jack Yates, you know, you went to a very historic high school, y'all put a lot of guys into the NFL and the college ranks. Same as my high school, Madison. I always got to throw that in there. I can't just talk about Yates and don't bring Madison up, homeboy. You know how they go. But
Man,
y'all,
that's
you went
not
to,
good.
you went to a
We
very,
shouldn't talk
very.
about those two things on the same screen.
I know, man. But you went to a very, very historic high school. Actually, my grandmother went there, and she's still living. And she's 97 years old. She went to Yates.
Smart.
That's
See
crazy.
what I'm
That's a
saying?
long time. That's a
God
long
loves
time
her.
ago. I know.
God loves her. Yeah.
Yeah, you went to a very historic high school, and you grew up, you seen guys, you going to Yates games and you seen guys in front of you that played ball, going D1, as some of them went to the NFL, had great careers. I remember when I played, I played against guys like Gerald Jackson, Gerald Moore. I mean, Robert Jackson. Y'all had some, some studs there. But you went there. You set your tone coming in. Behind your family, the Square family. And now here comes Damion. You had a great career there. Of course, you already had the size, the grades, and everything. What made you pick University of Alabama? Coming out of high school, playing for Nick Saban, and winning national championships and going to them, and having actually a great career that most kids, most guys would dream of in college. What made you go to Alabama, and how was it playing for Nick Saban and his staff?
One, that was tremendous, man. That was one of the best times of my life for sure. The amount that I grew, from the time I got to that university to when I left, man, was just so much, you know what I mean? And I really, really needed that window, of opportunity in my life to become the person that I am today. But I chose Alabama. One, I was, kind of persuaded to choose Alabama because my D-line coach at Yates was really connected with the D-line coach at Alabama. That was one of his good friends because they coached at North Shore previously together. You know what I mean? So they kind of like, pushed me in that, in that direction. But I can say this, man, that, like I said, that window of opportunity in my life was just much needed, man. I don't think, I could have went anywhere else and, just learned the lessons and experienced what I experienced there. Competed with the guys that I competed with there, man. Julio Jones, Dante Hightower, Courtney Upshaw, Mark Ingram, Mark Barron. I mean, I could just go on and on, man.
Y'all
So
had some
just to
dogs
be
there. Goddamn.
even considered coming out of Third Ward that I could play with those cats, it just did something to me, I was just honored. So I just worked like that because I was just so honored that somebody saw my tape and saw those guys' tape and was like, these cats could be on the same field together.
Gotcha. That's good there. That's good there. And I Brady, remember when you coming out, you going to Alabama, and man, you play with some dogs, bro. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And
I had to compete every year, man. Every year, dog. Like that man, the environment that he creates, like from just a competitive standpoint, is just unmatched. It's so intense. It's about as intense as it gets.
Yeah, exactly. And I think competition makes you better at the end of the day. I think that makes everybody.
It's the best.
Yeah,
competition and fear.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You got a great point on that. And I think that's why, all those guys, including yourself, you just named, are still in the NFL this day. You're talking about guys playing 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 years. Look at a guy like Julio Jones. I mean, it seems like this guy only get faster and more explosive every year that I watch him play. Same with Mark Ingram. I always was a fan of Alex Barron coming out. That's his name, right? Alex Barron? What's up? Mark Barron. Mark Barron. I think he played safety at Alabama, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and then he plays linebacker in the NFL. But I always was a fan of him. I was a big time fan of him. Always. I thought he's probably one of the best athletes to ever come through Alabama. From a size, speed standpoint.
The man won shot. He was a state shot put champion. Just understand that.
Man, that's crazy right there. That's crazy. Yeah. But that's a how many national championships did y'all win in Alabama? 1 or 2 or 3 or 4? I don't even remember when you was there. You won 3 when you was there?
3 of them, man.
Man,
Yeah,
that's crazy right there. You won 3 national
3.
championships. That's
Started in 3 of them. I was a scrub on the first one. I was actually going through an ACL injury, but I
so
definitely put some time
you were
into
writing
that
the stats
season.
down the first time.
Yeah, I was enjoying the whole bowl trip. You know what I'm saying? And then, that's actually when I tell, man, it's just crazy how you drop seeds in life, man. That was one of the first time I actually came to California and experienced California, man. And that was, one of those times where I was like, this is a place where I want to be. You know what I mean? So for me to just be here, living here, operating here daily, I mean, I don't know, what people believe in, but I truly believe in manifesting things. And I think that I manifested that then, and it's happening now.
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely. California is actually one of my favorite places, man. That weather, them views, just so relaxing. I'm gonna have to get
Yeah.
back down there once it's Corona window off somewhere else. That's good there though, man. That's
Sure.
3 national championships in the college career, man. It's unheard of. Some guys don't even get one. Some guys don't even get a conference, a bowl ring. In their life.
Yeah.
That's something else.
I
You
actually
can.
won a I actually won a na- I actually won a national championship without winning a conference championship.
I know. That's the perks of going to Bama, man. You putting yourself in a situation to play for a national championship,
Yeah.
year in and year out, and Saban, he keeps the ship rolling. That's why I consider him the best
That's
coach in
it,
college
baby.
football to this day. I say,
Mm-hmm.
nobody you can put everybody up, but I always say Saban is number one. Just from year in and year out, how he keeps the ship rolling, and also he loses a lot of the coaches every year, but he keeps reloading with new guys. Because I always tell people you're only better as your people around you, and that he actually is a prime
Yeah.
example of that, which I think is great. What's your take? And I, in myself, I done been through a lot of things in my life, which I don't want to discuss right now. I've been through, ups and downs. I done been broke. A lot of people don't know. They just see the flashy stuff I do now, but people don't realize, dude. I started from the bottom. I started, doing what I do with about $10 in my name, in my pocket. That's it. So I really grind
Yeah.
it, network it, and everything. But I will say that my life growing up, that I grew up, in Harlem Park in the inner city area, and growing up, I went to, my elementary school was all black. Went to Hobby Elementary, but middle school, I didn't go to Dick Dowling Middle School because they was having gang fights back then, black versus Hispanics. So my
Yeah, my
grandparents,
mom my mom went to Darling.
for real,
My mom
yeah,
went to Darling.
yeah. So I didn't go there because at the time when I was coming out, they was having race fights. So my mom
Yeah.
and my grandparents said, no, we're gonna go to Welch. So when I went to Welch, because the bus
Yeah.
took you, Welch was an all white, pretty much all white and Asian school. And of
Yeah.
course, you had African American, but it was super diverse. So I grew up at an
Yeah.
early age being around different cultures, and then I left Welch and I went to Madison, which was all black. I think we had one white person in the whole high school. That
Yeah.
was it. It was so. But I think my middle school experience helped me on later on in life once I got older. Older and being comfortable being around different races. That's why now I can interact with anybody. But I learned that early on as a 13-year-old, a 12, 13-year-old kid, and I think that played a big difference right now. Versus right now, I think a lot of people with the racial and the Black Lives Matter movements and everything. So some people are uneasy about it, which, I'm a big person with equality for everybody. And I've been blessed. So I've met, different races who helped me out in my journey, in my career, big time, but I always never forget where I came from. And I always knew that, hey, I'm gonna go back and help these kids and that kid. So I think this whole, with the racial thing, I think if everybody just come together and put a plan together and just to help kids, because I always tell people start with kids. Sometimes people they already
Yeah.
old. Most people are already stuck in their ways. But I think if you put that foundation at a young kid, young ages, that it don't matter. You can't judge the person from the color of your skin, but more so off their character. and their actions, I think that we'll have the world will be totally different. What's your take on everything? Because I know,
Okay.
that with the NFL and everything that's going on, you're about to go into the season. And I watched the NBA and the MLB, and they came out with the Black Lives Matter movement, on the courts and everything. And some people tired of seeing it, but I always tell people, when you experience racism, for example, a lot of people don't even know this, but Black African American businesses only get approved for 2% of business loans. I'm not going to tell the story how I couldn't even. I banked at this one bank. I'm not going to say the name, for the past 25 years. Went in to get a loan for a business. They told me no. I'm like, what? I have this amount of money in here, been with y'all for 20 years, and I can't even get a loan for open my business. So they tell me no.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things right there. A lot of people understand.
That, man. I've experienced that, making multi-million dollars.
Exactly.
Insane. I've laughed at people. I've laughed at the person telling me, because I could practically buy them.
Exactly. I think you had that.
Get along. You know what I'm saying?
I think we had a discussion a while ago, some years ago. You were trying to get a house.
But you're right. Exactly. But I continue, and at that time, rightfully so, because I was new, my credit wasn't right, so those struggles was, probably rightful. But later on, when I got my stuff together, I still, experienced some of that discrimination. But let me touch on some of the Black Lives Matter thing. Just like you, man, I have had, men and women of other races that have helped me, to higher heights in my life. You know what I mean? But at the same time, even with those people, I do think that I do have a certain duty for my culture, because that is, one individual that, saw enough in me to invest in me, right? So they have something, special for me. The color of my skin, my personality, my character, everything. So I try my best to build on those people, right? Because I truthfully believe that you can only affect the people that you can touch. And everybody else, if you can get to them, you can get to them. But you got to start with the people that you affect daily, right? And that's kind of where I started, man. I didn't try to go too far with it, right? Because if you try to reach too far, you might not get anything. It's kind of like the little game that you play in Chuck E. Cheese with the claw, right? You got to get something. You can't try to go for everything, because you'll waste all your money trying to get something out of that machine, trying to get everything, right? So that's how I kind of look at this whole racism thing, man, is affecting the people that want to be affected first. Because everybody don't want to be affected. That's the thing. And you'll waste your time trying to affect someone that does not want to be affected. They have to want to be affected. They have to allow that. And I think that's happening. That's happening more and more. You're seeing more people that's saying, I don't understand, but I am going to allow myself to be affected. And now it's up to that person that's representing our culture to affect them in the right way. Right? And if we can do that, we'll change one person at a time.
Yeah,
I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah, you're definitely right. And on my end, I will have clients, from all different races and backgrounds, and we have conversations. They I had one. She said the same thing. She's from Canada, her and her husband, and racism to them is like, huh? What, people are racist? What? They don't understand.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, we can have conversations. We have conversations. I train a lot of, different races. I'm around, people, all kinds of races and everything every day. And we have conversations, why is this? Why are they taking this statue down? Why is this school name change, and things like that, and which are great, because I always tell people, like you say, you're only as far as you can reach. We can't reach some people in too far, because it just, you're shooting blank shots. But I think people you can reach, and like you say, start at one person at a time. I think the world can, things can change, big time. That's why now, when I train athletes, I always try to mix them up, especially with the younger athletes, mix them up with different people.
Let me tell you something about let me say something about like with the school change thing. Back to that, because we can change it, right? We can
Mm-hmm.
change it. We can change that. We can move on. That's something we can visually see. The history behind it doesn't represent people equally, and we can change it. With that being said, that's enough for change. That's enough.
Yeah, exactly.
That's enough.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
enough.
Like I didn't even know Dick Dial in the middle school that your mom went to, and that literally is right by where I grew up at. I could throw a couple rocks in and hit it. That he was a, slave owner, Confederate flag, Confederate guy. He killed
Yeah,
zillions
that's why I
of
stayed in
African
church.
American, black people. I never knew that until I Googled it one day. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. When they changed the name, they made it right to
But
go back
listen,
to change.
but that's why if you see where Herm Clark is located, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
You see where Third Ward is located. That's why that migration of people, because if you look at everything in my neighborhood, it's black.
Exactly.
Middle
Exactly.
school, James B. Ryan, Jack Yates, Cullen. You see what I'm saying? Different, stuff like that. So it's just, you know, right across the way, people migrated over there because they started to get representation in those neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Wolf's pawn shop, Emancipation Park. You know what I'm saying? So you can just see that whole movement because of things like that. You see what I'm saying? Now that you have the knowledge of the name of those schools and why Herm Clark stayed diverse a little longer than Third Ward did. You know what I'm saying? And then why Westbury stayed diverse a little longer than Herm Clark did. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because of the
Yeah.
representation of us. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Exactly. Yeah. You're
No
right. You're right.
question.
Exactly. You're right. Yeah. But I think goes. I just think once families at home and people have discussions, because I always tell people it's easy to be silent about stuff, and I think everyone has a platform now with social media, with just having a discussion, with people, making people feel comfortable. And I got to tell people this year 2020, and we still going through these things. This is, which I think is crazy. It's year 2020, and and like
Yeah.
and I seen a video the other day from my daughter's school that they posted. And they had a conversation with a guy, and he said, because I live in the Woodlands, and he lived in the Woodlands, and he said at certain times of the day that he wouldn't even, if it was too late at night, he wouldn't even drive down certain streets because he didn't want to be the only black guy on a certain street. And it hit me in my brain because that's the same stuff I do. It's like certain streets. I won't, if it's 12 o'clock at night, I'm not going to the store down the street because it's probably, I
Yeah.
might get pulled over because it's like, what is the black guy doing on the street in this neighborhood?
For sure. For sure.
And what is he doing? So you go through things, in life, and I tell people, I tell people, white, black, Chinese, or whatever, everybody won't realize, until if you're not African American or black, you won't understand a lot of the things people are talking about because you're not going through it or haven't went through
You won't.
it.
You won't unless you come into our neighborhoods and let us discriminate against you.
Yeah,
It's the
exactly.
only way. The only way you
Yeah,
can feel that. And they have the leverage of not doing that. You know what I mean? Because we don't want to be in our neighborhoods, right? So let
yeah,
alone them come over there, and experience what we're experiencing. But like I said, man, just reaching the people you can reach, man. I have had, people of other races still to this day, do some significant things in my life. I wouldn't be the person that I am today without those people. Those people understood that I did not have the power to complete, and they lended it out to me. And I appreciate those people. Now it's my turn to do that for my culture, my people like you. It's your turn to do that for people like me. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah. You most
Because you
definitely.
had good people that did. No question. No
Yeah,
question.
you most definitely right on that. And I, till this day, I tell people my almost my best friend is a 70-year-old white guy right now. And it's crazy
Yeah.
how life comes around, but it's someone who I look up for advice every day, and I talk to, and we give each other free game every day, like on advice. And he's 70 years old, and just someone I'm like real good friends with right now in my life. And I always tell people I'm a big fan every year, and I think in your life as you grow, you get older, you're a different person. I think you're never the same person you was 5 years, even the last year. I think you got to grow every day, and to be open to
No
different
question.
things. But it goes back to like you say though, you can touch who you can touch and help who you can help. And you always tell people look at
Exactly.
yourself in the
But
mirror.
those people have to be willing to accept, man. If somebody
Exactly.
is not willing to accept, you ain't gonna pierce their mind anyway, bro.
Yeah, exactly. But I think with now with everything that's going on, and the ones that want to accept are actually trying. The ones that don't want to accept, they just stuck in 1945 or whatever year that was. When everything was
Yeah.
crazy. You know, and that
Well, but
just
not only that, D-Ron, why would you change something that benefits you? You
yeah,
know,
yeah, most definitely, most definitely.
I tell people it's like what Jordan said when I watched the Last Dance. He said when they changed coaches from, was it Bill Cartwright, right, to
Mhm.
Phil Jackson? Was that the
Uh,
coaching change? Yeah. He said he wasn't. He said he wasn't excited because Phil was coming to take the ball out of his hand, and even though it benefited everybody else, and they won championships, he still wasn't excited about it because it was to take something away from him. The other system benefited him, and that's the thing, that we're talking about. Some of these people, they've been stuck in these ways so long, and it benefits them. So why would I even entertain change when I got something that benefits me 100%?
yeah, most definitely on that. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right on that.
You know?
But I think we're going in the right direction though with it with everything.
Yeah.
I think, just with watching the George Floyd murder on TV, a guy who went to Yates High School. I think I played
Yeah.
against him in high school.
You
I think
play
I
against
played
that
against
cat.
him.
Yeah.
I think, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken, he's 2 or 3 years older than me, but I think he was a senior and I was a sophomore. I think he graduated with Gerald
Yeah. He was
Moore.
a tight end.
Yeah, he's tight end, a big
Mm-hmm.
guy. Just watching things like that on TV and those cops, just sitting there blindly, knowing they getting filmed and murdering him. Like I tell people, that could have been me, that could have been you, that could have been one of my brothers, anybody. But I think that
Easy.
there just really woke people up, black, white, Asian, whatever, that, okay, enough is enough. And we got to start
Yeah.
holding people accountable for things like
No
that. Because,
question, man.
like I tell people, I don't want my daughters to grow up and have to dealing with the same thing I grew up with, a vice versa. I want the world better for them, and I'm pretty sure the same thing you
Yeah.
want for your kids to live in a better world. And I think that's all kids, because I always say that the youth are our future. Those gonna be the future leaders. And like I was telling some kids the other day that I work with and I train, they 16, 17, 18 years old. I'm like, you're the ones that's changed the world. Once
For
y'all
sure.
y'all get there, y'all gonna be the ones to change the world and make everything, better and for everyone to live in, and just make everything,
And
like
not
I,
only that, more important than them, the kids from birth to 7. Like
yeah,
you said, man, the development stages of kids, dog. That's
yeah,
where you affect kids the
yeah,
most.
yeah,
Period. Once you get them right there, after that window, their subconscious, that shit almost stays the same for the rest of their life. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So
yeah,
you have to be really careful, and that's the most difficult time for a kid too, right? From 1 to 7, they don't understand quite well, they don't communicate quite well. So as parents, that's a difficult time for us, man. But we really got to phone home, some of the things that our kids practice from the time that they're born to 7, because those things they're gonna just carry, and
yeah,
if
yeah,
we want to
most
change
definitely.
this racism and this equality thing, when you see your kids playing with someone of another anything, and you see them making decisions based off that, you got to fix that right there. You got to fix it.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely on that. Definitely starts at home. But appreciate you
Yeah.
having you on, man. I know you gotta go,
For
get your
sure,
body
man.
tuned up and stuff. When did y'all start practice?
We report Tuesday. Go in, get in the hotel and all of that. I think you got all day to do that. And
For
then
real. So with
Wednesday
the
morning we'll have a
COVID with the COVID going on, they got y'all locked down, or you gotta wear a bodysuit while you're practicing and a NASA
I really
astronaut
don't
suit.
know, man. I really don't know because I saw Justin Hubbard and Eckler doing a workout the other day. So man, you don't know, man. it all depends on what media get out, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see.
This COVID got everything just crazy. I just try to tell people to be safe and understand, that, one thing is this COVID has done for me, it just showed me the things that I value in life more.
No question.
By being home and things like that and small things, that you can't do. So I know I value more the simple things in life than, I always been that way, but I just think it shows you a lot. And job wise, I think guys like you got to go play football and risk your life, and you got to, your family, you got everybody going on. So the COVID it's very interesting times in the world right
Nah,
now, man. It's very
yeah,
interesting
yeah,
times. I think they're gonna lock y'all in a
for sure.
hotel though. You ain't gonna be able to leave the room besides practice.
Yeah, we'll see, man. I mean, I've heard rumors about that too, but like I said, I can see how that can be difficult as well. But we'll see. I gotta go though. Let me get off this.
Yeah, I'll see you later, bro. Take care. Peace out.
All right, bro. Yeah.
All right.